Hello there, my name is Marcus and welcome to my top 10 of the year. This is top 10 expansions of the year 2024. On the 30th, I believe I'm going to be uploading this video. Whatever. It's going to be a bunch of videos in a row here, starting off with expansions, then top 10 games of 2024, then top 10 expansions releasing in 2025, top 10 games releasing in 2025. And then I'm going to do a reaction video on, not reaction video, but talk about what were my top 10 games releasing in 2024, where were they at. But we're starting off with top 10 expansions. And I don't want this video to be too long. But I will quickly talk about the fact that this was supposed to be top 5 only. But just throughout the last couple of months here, I've gotten some games in and played a little bit. And all of a sudden I was like, yo, I'm at 8. I just need to play 2 more. And I actually have 2 more. Just get on that and we have a top 10 expansions of 2024. Starting off at number 10, so it's more of a ranking of the games after the expansion I've played, but it's the Eosa expansion. I did a review of Eosa not too long ago. I wasn't overly thrilled by it, and the expansion just adds more to the game. It's one of those good expansions where if you really like this game, I would recommend you getting this expansion because it's going to expand the game and bring you more of that game, right? But because I didn't really enjoy Eosa, I didn't really enjoy an expansion that much. It didn't change it for the better for me. You know, but it's still, it's one of those expansions where I can tell you right now, if you enjoyed the game, you will enjoy this expansion because it's more of the game. And that's all there is brilliant. But it's going in number 10 because I didn't enjoy the game that much. At number 9, it's probably the game I've played this year that I've enjoyed the most. And also the game, not played the most, I know that for a fact, but it's one of the heavier games I've played the most. It is the Forest Shuffle Alpine expansion, or Alpine expansion. The first expansion for Forest Shuffle that came out early in the year, I believe, around the summer. Don't hold me up on that, but I believe it was around the summer that the Alpine expansion came out, and it is one of those amazing expansions that just adds to the game. You got another butterfly, you got another ways to score with the cards you already have, right? The European here that worked this the mountain hare that worked the same with the European hare, however what it was called. More ways to basically score how we already know, and a few more symbols to add to it. It's one of those great expansions that immediately got in the game. I haven't taken the cards out, we just play with it every time now. Brilliant expansion. In at number 8 it is Chest Nightfall. And this is one of those where I discovered, oh wait, that was released this year. Oh, it's just been sitting on my shelf, haven't really gotten it to play. Unfortunately, War Chest isn't played as much as I really wanted to because I love this game. And Chest Nightfall, it is the third expansion for it. It adds 4 new, well, not characters, because you're not characters, but trooper tiles that you can use. And I think these trooper tiles add some very interesting tactical options for you. I think it's probably my second favorite expansion for War Chest, as the Siege is still probably the one that I prefer, but it is still a really good expansion for it, adding some very interesting, again, not characters I wanted to call them, but troops for you to bring into the game. A very interesting way to play and rules changes, so would recommend it for anyone who likes War Chest. In at number 7, it is an expansion for a game that also was released this year. It's how Unstable Games always do it. They have an expansion with it. This is Command of Nature, Sand and Wind. Command of Nature is another brilliant 2-player game, the same as with War Chest, and this adds 2 new characters this time, not faction. Yes, and of course new faction-based cards for those 2 characters into the purchasing deck for this deck building game, and a new, not damage type, but you can now have, I always forget these kinds of words, but the sand one has a effect it can put on you, and the wind one has an effect it can put on you. That's really the only ones that have specific effects, and that's a very interesting addition to the game, these effects that you can add on to your opponent's troopers, you just call it that. So definitely it's one of those very interesting expansions, and it's a cool thing that they do these kinds of expansions. I just love if it came next year, because then you have the time to expand on it. But it still comes in number 7 because I think it brings the more interesting changes to the game other than War Chest and Forest Shuffle and of course Eosa. But it's a very interesting little addition with this Ascend and Wind. In at number 6 is a expansion I didn't expect to really get this year, but all of a sudden I got it and I was like, oh wait, this is also released in 2024. Let me get it to the table and see. It is Casting Shadows Molten Rock. Adding again 2 new characters to play as. One that's more sort of water focused and one that is fire focused. That's sort of where the Molten Rock comes from. Their own specific powers and evolutionary traits, and of course new attacking magic cards to add to it. I put this above Command of Nature because again it adds a new faction, all this that the same is, with new effects statuses that you can put on your opponents, but I put it above Command of Nature because I prefer Casting Shadows to Command of Nature. So sort of the way I like the game more brings it into the 6th place with 2 new interesting enough characters that you can quickly add to your game and play with. They don't change much. Of course, new tiles as well. 4 new tiles I believe there was in the game, so 1 for the specific characters and 2 new more basic ones for you to bring into the game. Those are lovely. I always play with the expanded tile network, so having 2 new tiles to add to that, making it more interesting. Thumbs up on that, love that. Really good expansion. In at number 5, it is another one of those expansions that just adds cards and expands the game. But this one, for some reason, for this game that we've played a lot in this year, I just loved this expansion so much more. I felt like this was way better than Alpine. It is First Shovel, Woodland Edge. The 2nd expansion came out in around October, November, thereabouts, right? And we got it in, and I love this one so much more than Alpine. I can't really explain completely why. It's just the way I feel about Woodland Edge. It adds shrubbery instead of trees, so it adds a completely new component to the game. I feel like it also brings in the top and bottom of cards a lot more. I've always felt like the sides and top of one was just like, I want to fill it in because I have that beach modern, but this adds some birds cards and some, I can't remember exactly what they're called, but pines and not pines, no. But bottom cards and top cards that really score in very much more interesting ways and easier ways to get a hold of. And maybe it's just the feeling, maybe it's just me that is a bit weird on that one, it's just a feeling, or maybe there's some truth to it. But it comes in number 5 because when I got that one, it was like Forest Shuffle came even more alive. And it was already a game that I love. I've already upgraded it, by the way. I gave it a 9 in my review. I've already upgraded it to a 10 because I love this game so much. And Woodland Edge was just like, it takes everything I love and times it by 10. Such an amazing expansion. Definitely recommend it if you love Forest Shuffle. In at number 4, it's the expansion pack that I've waited so long on. Many years. The most delayed Kickstarter of all. I got it and it did not disappoint, but I don't think it lived up to the reputation of having to wait 2 years for it. Honeybuzz Fall Flavors. It adds 4 modules, so it's not a one big expansion, it's a modular expansion, which is probably why it goes into number 4 and not higher. It could easily drop lower for me because I don't like modular expansions, that's kind of annoying. But it adds 4 modules and 2 of them are, I would want to play this game with those every single time. The 2 other ones are a little bit like, we can add them or not. But those 2 are really what makes this expansion worth it. Amazing modules to add. It's the one where you change up the entire board. And it's the one where you change up all the honey tiles, right? Changing them up. But that's another thing that drags it down. This could very much drop lower because of that. But I'm deciding to put it here just because I love the gameplay changes that it brings that much. The other 2 expansions where you cap off some honey tiles, or the one where you can retire workers, I think they will work really well in 2-player games once you get to know them a little bit better, because that's where you actually really try and do that. In multiplayer games, I don't think you will use those as much. So a little drag down there as well. But Honeybuzz Fall Flavors comes in at my number 4 expansion of 2024. On to my number 3, and this goes into one of my favorite games from 2022. It's waiting on this expansion. It's getting a new expansion for next year. I might mention that a little bit later on. But this is Distilled Cask Strength. It's a great little mini expansion that adds a deck of cards, some new sugar types, and new other stuff as well. They always say you can replace it, but I just shuffle in with it and have a massive sugar deck. Really cool when then the good things show up. But what I also added was the changing market. Sometimes things from Asia give you a bit more. these ones cost a little bit more. That change is needed. After 2 years, sorry about that, after about 2 years of playing it, by the way, it's from 2023, so after a year of playing it, I don't know where Foot 2 went into, but whatever, after a year of playing it, this adds a very needed change up to the market, to just add that change to the tactical aspects of it, having this much more to think about, like, oh, this is cheaper now, so maybe I should buy that now and wait one more turn for this, maybe, oh, but then that got more expensive, ah, damn it. These additions, it was such a great little addition to it, made the entire expansion totally worth it. Love the fact that I got it, distilled cask strength. And now number 2 is a game, this one is from 2022, I believe. Yes, it's a this is a 2022 game, the 2024 expansion, and also getting an expansion in 2025. This one we had to wait 2 years for, and it was definitely worth it. It is heat, pedal to the metal, heavy rain. Adds 2 new maps, really cool for Japan and Mexico. Not the maps I thought they were going to go for, but definitely a great addition. And a new car, of course. Not really necessary to be capable of playing it at 7. That's crazy. If the expansion adds another car, you're capable of playing with 8. Like, we've played it once at 6, and usually we play it at 3 or 4. So that's a crazy amount of play with people you can play this game with, and it works. Like, that's the insane thing, is it's a pretty heavy game you can play this many people with. I think it would be pretty good still. Take a lot of time, but pretty damn good. And this expansion, I mean, the Japan side is of course the one that you want to play on. It adds the weather marks for the heavy rain aspects, and the curvatures, which matters only if you use the weather forecast, but you should. Makes it all worth it. The Mexico side is also a really cool side to play on. What of course don't like about the Japan side is you drive through a tunnel, and it's basically a space Y. Could make a rule for that. It sounds like they might do that in the next expansion, Tunnel Vision. But they should definitely make something there. It's a little bit of an annoying thing to see that it just jumped this far in one. It almost makes this one move better, right? A little bit annoying on that one, but Heavy Rain is such a great expansion, great new maps. We've already played them to death. Looking forward to Tunnel Vision next year. So number 2 is Heat, Heavy Rain, and my number 1 expansion. If you know me and you've seen any of my videos, you've seen the other tabletop reviews playlist that I have besides the main one. If you can see my shelf over there, you might already have guessed that my favorite expansion of 2024 is Ticket to Ride, Map Collection 8, Iberia and South Korea. An amazing map pack. Amazing. Iberia, Take the Cake, adding in this way of scoring where if you land on the city you can take these cards over here, make it like when you want to do it. South Korea is also pretty interesting, played a little bit more since the review. It's definitely more interesting than what I made it out to be. This thing of all the colors are concentrated, so sure you know where you're going, but it's also definitely interesting to get your trains over here to try and score more points on this bonus tile. Such a cool thing for multiplayer. Iberia is really good at all the player counts. An amazing map to have it, and this map collection would be number 1 if it was only the Iberia map. You add in the South Korea map, and no other expansion has a leg to stand on against this map collection. I already love Ticket to Ride. This is everything I love about Ticket to Ride, plus more. It's an amazing expansion, and it's the best expansion of 2024, according to me, of course. So that is the first top 10 done. I think I did it in a short amount of time, hopefully. There will be more top 10s coming in this week. I just get around to playing them and recording them and all that. I do need to play one more game. Stupid me. But thank you guys for watching this one, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!